Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It's fantastic that you're here. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on rappers Bomfunk MC. And in that song, we talked about the fact that freestyling, which is a dance move where you get to try your own thing, perhaps we should try freestyling in our lives and seeing where things can go when we're innovative and creative. So I trust you enjoyed that one. Well, we're going from there to this guy today. You might remember this tune. Here's a little song I wrote. You gotta sing it note for note, don't worry. Be happy. Hands up if you remember that one. Of course, we're going to Bobby McFerrin today because we all got to know Bobby with that particular song. And you know, this guy, he's an American jazz vocalist. And between 1982 and 2013, he released 18 albums in his own right. And he's actually been involved in another 24. On top of that, with such music legends as Quincy Jones, Laurie Anderson, Al Jarreau, and the Manhattan Transfer, plus others. Now, he's a jazz vocalist. The incredible thing about this guy, and particularly when you look at the song Don't Worry, Be Happy, is he does all of the bits in that song, all of it, all the accompaniment, all the little rhythm with his voice. Everything is completely done with his voice and nothing else. He has the ability to have more than one tone going on in his voice at the same time. It's called polyphonic singing. Now, I don't know too much about polyphonic singing, but every now and then, you notice with him that he will actually put more than one tone in his voice at the same time, which is quite incredible. This guy is an amazing vocalist, and in some of the clips that I'll talk about in a little while, you'll get to see just how incredible and creative this guy actually is. This guy has won 10 Grammy Awards, and in fact, his breakthrough song, Don't Worry, Be Happy in 1988, won the best song, the best record, and the best vocalist of the year in 1989. So an incredibly significant song, I think, for him and for the world in general, because we had never seen anything really quite like this before Bobby McFerrin came out and did this. He also he puts on shows when he sort of does educative music stuff, and he puts a lot of humour in there, and they're really intimate shows when he puts on a concert, and so he has a real knack of entertaining. He's conducted various orchestras as well, and he's also received an honorary doctorate from the prestigious University of Berkeley, which is near San Francisco. And you may recall back in 1989 when Pixar was kind of starting, he did the soundtrack for their little short Knack, which was about the snowman who couldn't get out of the snow globe. And yes, I'll put that one in the description below for you to have a look at. But I suppose the song I wanted to focus on today is the breakthrough song, Don't Worry, Be Happy. And in this particular sort of song, he's got the white suit on and he's doing the whole talking to you advice thing. You know, if your rent is late and there's no one to hold and all the rest of it, don't worry, be happy. You know, worry's an interesting thing, isn't it? I think worry's all about not being quite sure what's going to happen when we go into our days, how something's going to go. You know, if we're involved in a big public speaking thing, we may worry about how it's going to go, or if we're having a wedding day, we might worry about how that's going to be. And there's two ways that we can be in this situation. We can either think, well, whatever happens, happens sort of thing. I've done all that I can to try and make this the best it can be. Or we can get overwhelmed with worry. Like, we'll be more concerned about the things that are going to go wrong than the things that are going to go right. The good book talks about worry, and talks about the fact that, you see the birds flying around and the animals, do they worry? Do they worry about where their food's going to come from? No, they don't. They just kind of get it, and they just do it. They don't have to worry. They just do what they do. And there's an argument to say is, if you do worry, does it actually add any extra time to your life? Well, probably doesn't really. If anything, it takes life away, because we can't really launch into our days and into what we're doing with enthusiasm and vigor, because we're just a bit worried. Now, unfortunately, in this world, things happen. Sometimes not very nice things happen, and that doesn't help the worry thing at all. But I suppose the thing is, all of the events, they've happened in the past, and sure, we can learn from those things and move on. Maybe we can learn from them and realise, okay, I know not to do that thing. And so if I know not to do that thing, what is the thing that I can do? And maybe we can leave worry aside a little bit. We can actually trust ourselves to know that when we get there, we'll be okay. Or if you're a person of faith, I suppose you could trust in your God to help you to do that sort of thing. But certainly we can trust in our ability to be able to do the thing we need to do. And the kind of trusting in ourselves takes over from the worry, and worry becomes less of a thing. And so we can start going into things and thinking, if absolutely everything is not perfect and everything isn't right, well, it doesn't matter. If things are generally going okay and generally going all right, well, surely that's worth celebrating. And we don't need to focus on the things which weren't so good or weren't as perfect. I mean, why do we need things to be perfect anyway? If we just go with the flow with a lot more, people will just feel a lot more relaxed around us, because we're going with the flow. And of course, Bobby McFerrin goes on to talk about the fact is, don't worry, be happy. Well, I don't know whether you can go from one to the other quite as quickly as that, but what I think he's trying to say is that if you have this attitude of not worrying and not being concerned about every conceivable little thing, happiness, not something that we force, not something that we try to attain, but happiness will just naturally emerge, because we're more focused on what is going right and celebrating that fact as opposed to what is going wrong. And so, perhaps happiness isn't this big, this big beautiful idea where you can say, oh, I'm overwhelmingly happy now. Because, things will happen. Once we get to that point, we think, oh, I'm not so happy again. What are we basing our happiness on? Happiness comes from finding the really significant little things every day that resonate within us, because happiness doesn't come from some external place. Happiness is actually within us, and when we see something that makes us happy, we're resonating with that reservoir that inside of us. Now, for some people, and maybe you, and I know certainly for me at times, we kind of forgotten where that reservoir is a little bit. Life becomes a bit overwhelming and a bit tricky, and we kind of forget where the resonance of happiness is. But it is there, guys. We just got to look for it. And maybe really celebrate the fact that when a really cool thing happens, or we see something really exciting, or just a little thing that makes us think, oh, that was nice, celebrate that fact. And if we do that often enough, we link these little events together, we might actually find we're happy because we're looking for those things more than the negative things. Human nature has a bit of a knack of focusing on the negative, it would seem. I mean, news certainly does that. Bad news sells. It really, really does. We like to see the tragedy and the disruption more than the happiness. And if you think about reality television, we like to see the fights and all of that sort of stuff. We don't want to see the person who's just getting on with everybody, having a good time, and just making a difference in that show. We don't want that. We want the drama. And that's the unfortunate thing, that world we're in. It's almost the world is asking us not to be happy. It's actually easier to not be happy than be happy. But, the challenge I think for all of us today is, well, hang on a minute. There is amazing stuff going on in this world. Let's focus on those things as opposed to the stuff that isn't going so well. And we may find our days just slightly better, I'm thinking. So I trust that will all be an encouragement for you today. When I do these videos, that's the only thing I'm hoping for really, is that these videos will be an encouragement to you. And if you are one of these people that needs to hear this today, it could be that you're meant to watch this video today. I believe that, with every video I do, that there's one person out there that really needs to hear what I'm sharing. So I really hope that'll be an encouragement for you today. Well, on to the clips. And before I move on to them, and I always forget to say this, the links to these 3 videos are in the description below. So you'll see them there after the little reflection, and just click on them and you'll be able to watch each one of these, or one, or whatever you want to do. So we do have Don't Worry, Be Happy. This is a really, really good clip from Bobby McFerrin, and yes, he is doing all of the parts in this song. Every single thing that you can hear, he is singing or doing rhythmic stuff with. So, all the he's doing that bit, and he's doing all of it. So just really celebrate how incredibly talented this guy actually is with his vocals. He has honed his art to become quite unique in this world. That song, by the way, as I talked about before, it's a Grammy Award winning song. It came off his album Simple Pleasures in 1988. I've then also gone for something a little bit more reflective, just to really, really show off how talented this guy is. And this is a live performance of Ave Maria. And Ave Maria is based on a prelude written by Bach. And so instead of him taking the melody of this one, he's doing the accompaniment of this one. And you just get to see how in control of his voice he actually is. And just really get swept away by what is a really beautiful connected spot in one of his shows. So I really trust that you'll enjoy what is a very haunting rendition of Ave Maria. Ave Maria is a classic song. A lot of people know Ave Maria. And as I also talked about Knack, the Pixar movie from 1989, there we go. I thought I'd include that one in its totality. It's about a 5-minute short from Pixar. It's the story of the snowman in the snow globe trying to get out, and all the things that he tries. Really, really funny. And I think probably, this particular soundtrack for this one, again, Bobby McFerrin did it, and I think he's really stepped it up here and created something quite memorable and perfect for this particular Pixar short. If the music wasn't there, it wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it actually is. And as you see at the beginning of the video, this was 6 years before Pixar brought out Toy Story. And so this is really, really early Pixar, and you can see the innovation that is there well and truly. So have a look at all of those or some of those or whatever you'd like to do. And I've also included, by the way, my video from last time on Bomfunk MC. So if you want to recap on that one, feel free. Well, that's it for today. If you've come back for another video, fantastic. If you've hung around until the end, fantastic as well. The invitation is there to leave a comment, or if you would like for me to look at a song. I haven't had a request yet, but if someone wants me to have a look at a song, feel free to put it in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Well, that's it for today. Next time, we're going to go on to Living on a Prayer. Yes, Bon Jovi. So until then, I'll catch you around.